but we need villains. Cobra Kai needs villains. We need bad guys. Ah. Don't worry. Allow me to instill some nuance and context into the situation as I do. Now, I've talked about this before, but I haven't dedicated a whole video to it, so I'm doing it right now. Why we shouldn't be worried that Cobra Kai needs villains. Now, the simple reason I'm not worried is because already in the trailer we have a bunch of unknown henchmen / senseis surrounding Terry, and his empire is expanding. He's got multiple dojos everywhere, multiple students. He's got a whole army at his disposal, and the casting of Alicia Hannah Kim for season 5. And, you know, I'm going to be fascinated to see what her role is and how she factors into the story. And also, shout out to those that when I was breaking down the trailer, there were some people that said that was Piper. Yeah. Wow. But, having said that, Silver has now the foundations of a massive army at his disposal. It's a big army. Like, we don't need to worry about them having bad guys. We don't need to worry about Cobra Kai needing to be a threat, because you have 100 non-playable characters that are good guys, quote-unquote, are going to be fighting against. And Johnny will bring Miguel and Robbie together. Sam and Tori will bury their beef. Kenny and Sean will most likely come home and join the good guys. I don't think they'll stay in Cobra Kai for long. But I'm not sure about Kyler. Like, Kyler's fate's up in the air, but, you know, we'll see. I'm going to throw it back to I'm going to redeem Rhea. Fingers crossed for a Kyler redemption. But we shouldn't be worried that everyone's redeeming or coming back to the good side, because if you understand the story and you understand the show and the characters and the narrative, it's so centralized around the movies. And in the movies, the biggest plot thread was forgiveness. It was redemption. It was, you are what you grow beyond. You are not defined by the mistakes of your past. You are defined by your actions and what you do going forward. And I really think, as I said, this is the season where everyone will come together and we're going to build up to the end game. As a good friend of mine has said it many times, they're setting it up. And we're now in that journey. We're now in that headspace. And I think Cobra Kai is clearly going to be the bigger threat now. We've been grey in this show since season 1. I think the longer you do it, you're going to need a clear distinction of, okay, these are the villains, these are the good guys. And make no mistake when I say this. You know, Robbie, Tori, Hawk, these people have done some bad things. Very bad things. But they've never been bad people at heart. And that's what I've always stressed, is that at heart, they're good kids. And they've just been shown the wrong way, they've just been led the wrong way, and they've had no one in their life to guide them to the right path. Now, that doesn't excuse their actions and what they've done, but it doesn't mean that they can't make things right. And if Daniel and Johnny's story is anything to go by, don't wait 30 years to bury beef, because look what happens. One of you ended up in a coma, one of you ended up in the slammer, one of you ended up, you know, with your education up in the air. Like, there's so many different ramifications for these kind of situations. Johnny and Daniel are not going to want this to carry on. And, you know, as much as this show is ingrained in the Karate Kid mythology and legacy, it is the story of Johnny Lawrence. It is his redemption. This is, for all intents and purposes, his story as much as it is Daniel's now. Which is why, as I said, Robbie and Miguel will 100% come together, because that's Johnny's biggest problem since season 1. The seeds have been planted, and we're bringing Chozen into the fold. And if you remember this, talking about redemption, I'm all about intention. Intention matters. A lot of these kids have fought each other over misunderstandings and poor communication. Chozen wanted to kill Daniel. He wanted to take his head off. You know, you don't say to someone, "You insult my honor again, and I kill you." You don't say that to someone and, you know, oh, it's going to be smacking you with a towel. No, it genuinely means exactly what it says it means. He's going to kill you. And with that threat in mind, I've got a little video that I've got coming talking a little bit about Chozen and that being a double edge. I've had conversations with the lads about this. There's a nice interesting spin that we talked about in the latest Kings of Pop Culture stream. So make sure if you haven't seen it, go check that out. But I think we don't need to worry about there not being villains or bad guys, because we're now setting up for that. We're setting up for villains and bad guys that we don't care about. I don't want to be attached to these bad guys whatsoever. I would be perfectly content if this ends up like a Power Rangers episode, where you've got literally our good guys: Miguel, Hawk, Robbie, Sam, Tori, Dimitri, Sean, Kenny, Anthony. You know, that's our good guys against the real evil people that are now in power. And I've said it would be cheesy, but hey, it's Cobra Kai, come on. You know, it's a bunch of people having gang wars with karate. You know, it's already cheesy enough. So how about this? We see evil versions of the characters that we've known to grow and love. What if you see a version of Robbie that wanted to kick Miguel over the railing? What if you see a version of Tori that went further than trying to take Sam's face off? What if you see a version of Miguel that completely lost his way and, for all intents and purposes, fell to the dark side? What if you see a version of Hawk, maybe he'll call himself the Eagle or something, and, you know, he's an evil little arsehole. Like, there's so many routes and avenues that they could take. I think we're building up to that. And the reason I say I want Sean and Kenny with the good guys is because, one, Kenny is Robbie's apprentice, and already the line of dialogue where Robbie says to Kenny, "You need to be smarter than me and your brother," it wasn't put there for no reason. And also the line of Kenny saying, "Hey, Sean was just defending me and he ended up inside." And speaking from an older brother perspective, I do not think Sean is going to like what's happened to Kenny one bit. I don't think he's going to like it whatsoever. He sent Kenny to Robbie to guide him and to watch over him, and look what's happened. You know, obviously Robbie will need to clear things up when he comes back from Mexico, and no doubt in that time Hawk and Sean will probably have a misunderstanding and start duking it out. But I think that there's too much grey for those guys. When I say villains, I want old school 80s black and white, you know, Saturday morning cartoon, you know, "This will never be over," you know, I want those kind of villains. I want those villains back. You know how, like, you'd sit there watching an episode of Pokemon, and then, you know, the two characters, the name escapes me, but we all know the two characters, and they would go and land in the star in the skyline, and then they're like, "I'll be back!" You know, I want villains like that, where we clearly distinguish the good from the bad. And make no mistake, just because Kreese may work with the good guys, that doesn't mean he's a good guy. It's a business transaction. It's akin, shout out to King, it's akin to Magneto working with the X-Men. There is a common goal, there is a common enemy, and it's not like, hey, you know, Magneto and Charles are smacking each other with towels and, you know, singing Kumbaya. It's because there is a bigger threat, there's a bigger fish. There's something else that they have to take down. That's what it's going to be. And I think that's 100% where we're going. And they don't have Mr. Miyagi in this show. And I think the way that they could even pay off Mr. Miyagi even more is when Mr. Miyagi spared Kreese in the first film, or the second film, the opening of the second film, when Kreese is punching the windows. Maybe that paved way, or maybe that showed Kreese a different perspective that he doesn't realize until this season, that maybe Miyagi sparing him in that scene set him up for this. And Kreese is that elderly figure that is there for Johnny, and he has well, I don't know how he's going to get along with Daniel. That's going to be interesting. But I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be working with them. Chozen's going to be in the fold. Like, I know it sounds fanboyish, but there's already been fanboy moments across this show already anyway. You know, I stand by my firm idea. One united dojo, you've got Kreese, Chozen, Johnny, Daniel, maybe Julie or whatever, and then all the kids come together. All the kids that we care about. Every single kid that has a bit of grey facing down the enemies of Cobra Kai. Oh, but there won't be enough villains. There's 9 dojos worth of students. 9 dojos. Like, we've got the rebellion, now we're fighting the Empire. Like, that's essentially what it is. Guys and girls, jump in the comment section down below. Let me know if you're happy that I'm back doing Cobra Kai stuff again. And the thing is with me and the way I do my videos, I like to just be off the dome. I like to just be, you know, I really like to delve into why characters do the things they do, how it will link stuff together. Because I'm a very storytelling driven person. I don't just, you know, put anything random out there. You know, I like to quantify stuff, and I really enjoy talking about it in that aspect. But we're marching forward to 8K, and I can't thank you all more than enough. By the time this video goes up, Kenobi Episode 4 would have probably dropped. I would have probably done a watch party to that. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And would this be something that you would have faith in that would be executed well? Like, do you fear that this could be a point where Cobra Kai jumps the shark? Or are you still kind of like, you know what, I trust them. I think they've got this in the bag. Let me know down in the comment section below. And, yeah, peace.